And then, boom. And look how cool. Neal on the show. Thanks, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Glad
coming
to be here.
Let's just get right to it. Those that don't know who this gentleman is, enjoy the show because I'm just getting to know him and I am blown away. So for those that don't know, I see this basically a commercial and or some type of ad for an augmented reality application. I'm engulfed. I start doing my research. I find out who's running it. I call you. Like, it was like random. Wasn't it late?
It was totally random. No one later, like middle afternoon on Saturday. I was just
like, that's what I meant. It was a weekend. Yeah. Called you right away. You pick up. I'm like, I don't even know if I knew your name at that point, but I'm like, is this the, is this the guy? And you're like, yeah. And I go, I'm Chenzo. I have a show. I would love you to come on. And here you are.
And an hour later, we were still on the phone.
We're on the phone. So you are an Ormond resident.
I am an Ormond resident.
And you have invented this augmented reality application that is app-based.
That is correct.
Called Captum.
Captum.
And we will be sharing videos and all. If you, by the way, for those that are listening, you can click on the Facebook page now and go check it out.
Right.
But you just showed it to me in person, and you son of a gun. It is amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Definitely has a wow factor.
So for those that don't know what it is, it's augmented reality. If you're not aware of it and you're not only trying to start to implement it within your marketing practices, then you're just, you're black and white TV, man. Get your head in the game.
We agree with that.
So he has this, it's beautiful. It's an amazing thing. So, but I'm going to let you tell us quick. I have a lot of questions to just how you are. I mean, I asked you earlier, I said, are you even sleeping at night with all these, where this thing can go?
Right.
But so thanks for coming. So how do you say, like, Neal
Krajewski?
Okay. And now have you been in the hood for a while?
We've been here about 12 years.
Okay.
I guess. So, kind of doing the real estate thing for a little while. And I'm also a contractor, but, now we're focusing on Captum a little bit more and trying to grow that business with something we've always done, has not been afraid to step out there and try things.
Hit it.
Right.
So now it's been, you said tomorrow's people are going to start to hear a lot more of it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, we hope that all of the Facebook and Instagram marketing starts. We've got a pretty large campaign that should be rolling out, and we're excited to see where that's going to take us and see if this thing doesn't make it go viral. Right.
And now, how would I say, would it be? Has it been like a handful, a year or two that you've been? Because I know we had talked on the phone a little while ago, and you were like, you've been kind of grinding at this for a while, perfecting it, and
about a year ago, I saw my first augmented reality experience, and most people know about it. It's the bottle of wine, 19 crimes, right? And so, I saw that, and my first reaction was, can we create something that everybody can create that same experience?
Right.
And so we kind of cooked on it for a little while. We didn't jump right into it. Did a little research, found that company, was in talks with them for a little while, moved on from them, and wound up contracting with a company in Russia, as I explained. And I think they actually started building in late December with an anticipated launch date of February. And, as the tech world goes, as I found out 3 months later, here we are. We finally have an app that launched. So that was kind of the nuts and bolts of how we got there. We cooked on it for about 4 months before we contacted anybody. Just, not 100% sure if that was the right thing to do. Ran it by a few people, showed them. And it was kind of crazy that some of the people that we showed it to, their first reaction was the same as my reaction. And I didn't want to say anything to them. Like, I didn't want to tell them, hey, I've got this idea for this app. But like when I showed it to them, they were like, well, how come you can't make a business card do that, or a flyer or something? Right. And I was just like, dang it, now I got to tell you. And so we brought some of those people on to help us because they had the same vision that we did. And so, we're trying to strategically place them in their strong points. So what can they do and be involved? And so it's exciting to have them behind us and be as excited as we were about it. But that was just kind of affirmation as to, maybe we might be onto something here.
Yeah. Like, is there a segment for this?
Right.
Well, I told you this, but I'll say it for the sake of the show. So, and it's just great because he comes up a lot in the shows because he just has to. So Matthew Robinson, a very dear friend of mine, and rest in peace, was working in augmented reality 6+ years ago to contract present the SunPass to the SunPass
Right.
peoples, and he was using this augmented reality thing, and I was then blown away. But to see it in a commercial level is just mind blowing. Right. And once again, for those that don't understand this, it is very confusing. So we're not talking down at you if you don't know what it is. It is very interesting. This augmented reality is, so one of the many things that it does do is that you can have an inanimate object like that piece of paper that I'm pointing at, and you people don't see what it is, but like this, and it could be a flyer, a brochure, a mailer, and it could even be like a ticket to something. And the consumer,
a t-shirt,
then has the app, which, by the way, which was one of the questions, and I'll answer for the audience, that the app from the consumer level does not carry there's no fee for your customers to see this. Absolutely. So they have the app downloaded on the phone. They're aware of the fact that something that you've given them and or they see has something to be seen further at that point. Right. Safe to say. Now the consumer or person at that point can go ahead and hover their phone over that inanimate object, and bada bing, we have something displaying video, something that's just mind blowing. And at that point, you as the marketer have the opportunity to market what your product is, your mission, and this. If you're a thinker, you can do anything with this.
Absolutely.
Getting your product seen, your mission, your statement, something. So when I had asked you earlier, like, are you sleeping at night? I'm already starting to lose sleep just thinking about how I can implement this into my business practice to give my consumers something more to market, to get out. So like I said, I was literally leaving a meeting earlier today, and I was showing the people what this could do. And it was like bees on a beehive, man. Yep. It's attractive.
Absolutely. It is attractive.
I would say, Neal, correct me if I'm wrong, but are some of the hardships maybe you're dealing with in the very beginning is the ignorance factor? Like, what in the world, like, is it, or because it is so foreign to so many people.
Part of it is that. And so, we're constantly evolving. Like, I think every week we've had an update come out, and we're trying to implement stuff to make it a little bit more self-explanatory when you get into the app. And the create side of, the scan side it speaks for itself. If you have some content in front of you, you look at it and it shows you the content that's attached to it. And that's going to take a little time to get enough content out there so that it's readily available. So there's always something to view, and so it's going to be a building process, just like any other form
business.
That Facebook didn't start out with 2.2 billion citizens now, as they call them, right? Yep. But it's a process, and so as this thing grows, and Ormond Flagler, the Central Florida area is going to kind of be a hub for us right here at the beginning, because we're local and we're talking to a lot of local people. But as it grows, and as we come up with just some generic targets that everyone has access to, it'll definitely become more user friendly and have more stuff to look at. So right now we have the dollar bill, so everybody can look at a dollar bill.
Yep.
And we were just kind of brainstorming this morning about what are we going to do to get maybe 3, 4, 5 more targets that everyone around the country and possibly even the world can get their hands on. And so I had the great idea about nonprofits, let's just say Red Cross, right? Or one of those type of organizations that they're nonprofits. And so they would be fine with us sharing their content and their story and attaching it to their logo.
Yep.
So it might just be that might be an avenue for us. So we're just kind of exploring that to make it so that when people download the app, there's
stuff to see.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, this, and in my industry, it's even more of a hardship where content, we've all hear it now, that content's king and things of that nature. And it's tough. That's when I sit down in meetings with my clientele and, I'm building a web environment or doing something. I can't do it for them. I can't give you your script. I can't give you your about us. So this is something to digest on the behalf of a business and or some kind of entity. But the cool thing is that it's going to be, you're starting to get seen in a way that's not common. It's going to stick out.
That's right.
And I'm, like I said, my brain's going a zillion miles a minute to how I could start to implement it even in my own business and my own marketing. Because it's so, and this is what's cool about it, is that as the technology gets better, as the phones get better, and as the people that are working on the system, it gets better, then the product becomes better and the usability and
That's right.
So, but I mean this with all due respect, man, what I already saw, like looking and playing around on it and stuff, like I'm not kidding you, dude. I tip my hat off.
Thank you very much.
Because being that we are, and now this has been my hood for my whole life, not Flagler Beach specifically, but Palm Coast and Flagler. I've been here since '86. And I say this out of love for all my Palm Compton folk and Flagler Beach residents. Like we don't have we need more of this. Right. We need more ideas and more ingenuity and more and like pioneering stuff that's not being done. We have a lot of business owners. We have a lot of business concepts. There's nothing wrong with all that, but they start to start doing stuff that the bigger cities are doing, like the Seattles and the the Silicon Valleys and all that. I mean, you're in that. I guess it's an honor, and I mean this, to have you in that environment and be pioneering it for our area, man. Like it's really exciting.
Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm, definitely, and kind of just touching base on some of the stuff that you talked about. It's going to be exciting to watch the creativity of people and just get to see the cool content that some people are going to create. I mean, some of us don't have that artistic capability and don't have the vision to be able to create stuff like that. And that's totally fine. And there's absolutely a place for that within Captum and within the AR world. It doesn't all have to be super bells and whistles. I mean, we all love to go to Disney World and Disneyland, all that kind of stuff, but we also like to go to the fair that's on Nova Road every year and walk around and experience that. Right. And so it's a same thing, but different level, so it's going to be exciting. And one of the things that we've thought about is the whole Christmas card thing. Yeah. And so we're going to roll out like a special for Christmas cards. Cause everybody, you probably get 15, 20 of them in the mail, just like everybody else. And you stick them on your refrigerator and they're pictures of families and that. And it's just a picture, but I'm excited to see those pictures turn into an actual Christmas greeting to say
story
from us. Right. Exactly. Right. This is, I had a friend for a lot of years that every year I got a letter from their family, and it just kind of gave a brief rundown of what every person in that family accomplished
for Christmas. They get
absolutely. It was a handwritten letter that she wrote out and they made copies, and it was just a great concept. And so even to have that, even to get a Christmas card, and from one Christmas to the next, you might have a slideshow that shows how the kids grew up, great things that they had through the year, and just to be thankful for. And so it's just like that's a cool concept, right? And then birth announcements and wedding announcements and graduations.
The wedding segment.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Thank you cards. So now your thank you card is not just a thank you card. It's a video to say, hey, thank you for coming. We appreciate you and supporting us, whatever. So it's
mind boggling, man.
It is mind boggling.
There's a lot. And that's, as this genre starts to continue to get bigger, this whole influencing marketing kind of thing, where individuals with YouTube channels, and me as a testament, I mean, you had asked me earlier, like, how much you making off this show? This is a hobby that maybe one day turns into a way that I can bring in some incremental revenue. But most importantly is that what you're hinting on is that you don't have to be a conglomerate to utilize this type of product and your marketing. You could be, for instance, we're having wherever there's a disconnect from the viewer to the product and or mission, this is a huge opportunity. So for instance, even from a recreational standpoint, if we're having issues with getting the idea out, stay off the stupid dunes, like we made a turtle with a cone on its back and we put it around a bunch of buildings and it's not doing a damn thing. Right. But send out a mailer, but that's my point, is like getting your mission and or statement seen so ridiculous. It's just so captive. So today, even when I was showing, I was doing my presentation on what a website should look like in 2019, so to speak. And obviously video is common now. If you don't have video at some capacity, whether it's a YouTube channel or something like the videos you guys are doing, like some kind of video marketing should be embedded on that site. They're captivated by the video. They're like, oh my God. Now that same principle is what this augmented reality is doing.
Exactly.
Now, these are some of the things too, as you guys evolve, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the augmented reality doesn't even require the object, right? So in some situations,
it is evolving into animate objects. It does work. It does work on animate objects. It's affected by light and time of day and that kind of stuff. So if you had an animate object in a building where the light was consistent, it would work every time. But we are evolving that.
Okay. So it doesn't actually require like.
It does not. Awesome. It does not.
That's where
as that evolved, and it's evolving very quickly. And so I think this is something you're going to see probably in the next couple of months, that we will we will have this technology perfected so that you won't have to have an actual printed material. So just take real estate, for example. I feel like, and I'm pretty confident in the fact that eventually you will be able to pull up in front of a house and look at that house through the Captum app and watch a video about that house. So you won't have to search on Zillow or other real estate avenues to find information out about that house. So that is coming. I mean, currently it's you could just somebody could just put a little yard sign in front, and they can just look at the yard sign and get the whole video, and then contact the agent, direct contact. That way, we have all that built in with the apps. We have that direct contact stuff. But it's definitely going there, which is exciting for museums. And so currently when we go to museums, and we got all these little plaques that we have to read, and people these days, they just don't read like they used to. And so if they can walk around with their Captum app and look at the statue and see a whole presentation about why we even have that statue and who it is and why he's here and the importance of him, and just like the turtle thing. So if you had a turtle that you could just look at and see what happens to that turtle when we destroy his environment. You got me? And cities, municipalities, when they're trying to invoke tourism and capitalize on that kind of stuff and just having more information, you go to you go up to Ormond, we got all those old buildings and most people don't even stop to really realize, but everybody loves their cell phone, and they're not really stopping to realize because they're all looking at their cell phone. So if we can get them to combine the two, it's just another tool. Right?
It is. And for anyone that's listening at some point, it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Like it's what you can either use it, but it's not, it's like when the TVs went from black and white to color TVs. It's not a matter of, it's going to happen. You can pick your poison, but if you're not implementing it within your marketing or some even educational purposes, and we had talked about this, I think right before we went live maybe, but the educational segment.
It's going to be exciting.
You imagine you're a kid and instead of, you open up your book and instead of it being, George Washington and his face and this, but it's actually projecting a video at their leisure, at home and at this, and it doesn't require the screen even at the school. If they have attention problems and things of that nature, they do it on their time and their privacy and educate themselves. And it's a concentrated amount. You see, a lot of problems is on a tangent. What happens is I'm playing devil's advocate in my head and thinking, well, what about, why can't we just use YouTube then? I'll just put a link to this. Well, here's what's happening in my own industry is anytime you present, just like on this show right now, like where we're live, and I said we can't see ourselves, but just like what we're live right now, someone's on Facebook or they're on YouTube or wherever, however they're listening, and they see the next best looking thing, they're gone. The market, the mission and or the whatever that content is not isolated and concentrated in that environment. I'm a video that's got you're probably scrolling right now on Facebook. Right. I'm just there. I'm just filling some extra time as you take your shit.
That's right.
And same thing on YouTube. You've got a billion of things going on. Maybe you got an ad pop up, but when it's concentrated and you own that content, that's what I try educating to my clients is that the more we link out or the more that content is housed in an area that is not just you're going to hemorrhage. You're going to hemorrhage people. They're going to leave, and that's okay. But now we're taking it to the next level. And it's not just an augmented reality thing. It's taking your business and your mission once again to where you're getting it seen fast, accurately, and in an environment through a medium that's not normal and a good not normal. Right. So we'll see this. We could probably we'll look back on this a year from now and see if it happens. But like this time next year, we'll see more augmented reality at Disney, 110%. Do you know? It's probably been about 5+ years that the mall in Dubai had that augmented reality where the animals come out and they're there. Like that, I believe that isn't that some type of segment of augmented reality, I would imagine?
It is definitely a segment of augmented reality. So you're talking about the video where the kids are standing there and the dinosaurs are over and all that. That is exactly what augmented reality is.
And that's where
100%.
So think about it. And of course Dubai's that's a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
But if they're doing it, by the time it's going to hit to the normal level, which now it is, and you're a testament to that. So now it's attainable and it's not nauseating expensive and you need the Princes of Dubai to build it.
That's right.
But it's exciting to see where it's going. And I think like you said, to reiterate, man, I think it's really exciting to see what people are going to start using it as. Right. Because you're just giving them the tool. And now it's up to them as the content production people to like, what are you going to do?
Right.
What's your mission?
And part of what's so cool about Captum is, previously the AR experiences were limited to your $100 million corporations and up, because it is very expensive to create those experiences. And that was, that was kind of like when I first saw the wine bottle, I'm like, everybody should have this capability to make this stuff. And so for $20 a month, you can own AR technology and change that out as much as you want to. It's not like you make one for $20 and that's it.
Right.
You can keep evolving that and creating it and making it better. And we've got some new updates that are coming out that are just like really, really cool stuff that you won't have to change your image, your actual static image. You won't have to change that on the back end. You can change video out every day if you want to. So your podcast, every day you can put the new podcast on that refrigerator magnet or whatever it is, or the t-shirt, or it doesn't. So that's like really
the object
cool.
Stays the same. Not to interrupt you, but for those, because I'm trying to boil it down for those. So whatever that piece was that I used in my marketing, whatever it is, even if it was it's a Christmas card that lasts forever.
Absolutely.
This is what you're saying.
Change the content.
Because it's like every year they could just hover the phone over it. And as your equipment and services become better and more fluid and just more engaging, that you're saying that it doesn't require the new card. It just requires me as the production of the, producing the content to provide that.
You just change the content.
You dirty man.
It doesn't change, right?
That's amazing.
But I mean, so you think about until 3 weeks ago, it was unattainable to 95% of the corporations out there, and small businesses and real estate agents and car dealerships and you name it.
Dude, the car dealership thing is ridiculous.
How many times we go to the mailbox every week and we pull something out of the mailbox?
The key you do when they do like a fake, it's like a real key. It's like, how much did this key actually cost?
Absolutely.
They put in a key, like, here's your key to a new car. So look, those that are in the car dealership industry, you forget about it.
Absolutely.
I would literally be taking you out to lunch. Like I'd find where I live and I'd be like, Neal, I'm going to lunch. I need to get this, because it's so funny because I'm just going to use the term blessed, because we are so blessed that you're in this funky little hood, because print mediums still really work. I have clients sometimes that are not anywhere near here, and they'll ask me like, what are some other mediums that I should stimulate? And print is not one of them usually, when it's like the bigger cities where it's like, but when it's now here, like Flagler, Palm Coast, and these areas, and they don't have to do this crazy wham banner reinventing the wheel on this piece of paper. It's now just knowing that, hey, this is going to be this app-based kind of.
Right. And it's funny, it's funny you say that print media, print marketing, whatever it's just non-existent. But when you leave here today, and it doesn't matter where you go, everywhere you look, something is printed.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I don't care if it's a sign on the outside of the building. You go to the airport and you walk up and down. What do you see when you walk up and down? There are posters and there's print stuff everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
And so it makes no sense, for as inexpensive as what we just created, for every one of those not to take advantage of enhancing that. Here's the key word right here: customer experience, right? Because without a great customer experience, you won't stay in business. It doesn't matter what it is. A real estate agent won't stay in business. A car dealership won't stay in business. Magazines.
You're 100% correct.
None of that. And so when you elevate an overall customer experience, they remember that experience, because life is based on experiences. And what we remember the most in life, more than anything, experiences.
And it's no irony that I just happened to watch. I follow this guy on YouTube that does these like 15-minute super condensed videos of researching businesses, some that have done well and some that haven't. I just watched one on Kmart. And do you want to know that was a pretty
bad experience? I remember that. Wasn't it?
Dude, the guy in the video, he's not opinionated. He's factual. Kmart, I didn't realize this, but Kmart and Sears were the same for a long time.
I didn't know that either.
Me neither. And you think about it, how did a company like Sears and Kmart go out of business when they dominated before Walmart, before Target, before any of these companies? Their biggest issue was they experience in the store was horrendous. Isn't it funny if you actually, for those that have been in a Kmart, it goes without saying that they had the blue light special. Attention Kmart shoppers. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
But it was like there was nothing warm and fuzzy about it. Now, listen, I don't know what warm and fuzzy is, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, they should have did it like this. I don't know. That's why I'm not a conglomerate.
But it did give you the warm and fuzzy.
It didn't give me the warm and fuzzies, and it didn't give no one. So why did they start to hemorrhage clientele to the Walmarts, to the Targets, to this? They tapped into the, wait a minute, people don't want to just walk around this. I don't know what it was. I don't know what their kryptonite was, but it wasn't. That's in the video. The guy was saying the experience at shopping there was just horrible.
Right.
And that's kind of just like triggered an idea of the same factor is that, and I think I don't know. I'm just one guy, but every once in a while I have those people say like, oh, like, how are you doing this? How are you, it's just treating people the way I would want to be treated.
Absolutely.
But I'm just one guy. But when you have to, like amplify that and compound it, and you have a company base of 70 plus employees, and this is where it's going to start coming into play here. Right. Is really start, and doesn't require just the big companies. I can utilize this, but when you really have to make sure that you're getting seen more than the average Joe these days, which is getting tough. We are inundated. I was thinking about what you're talking about. You're right. Walking to Terminal A in Orlando International Airport, we are going to if we counted how many advertisements we saw from driveway to airplane seat, it would probably be in the thousands.
And even sitting in the airplane seat.
Even in this airplane, Skyway Mall. I don't even know if
Sky Mall or something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. But you're right. Like how many, if you count 1, 2, 3, now out of those that you count, how many of them are using technology to make sure that and the cool thing is that it's timeless, right? Like once they have it, if that object is there, if they have it, you can rewatch it, reuse it, go home, show the wife. That's the biggest thing. I can't buy right now. I got to show my wife. Well, now you can. Right. Go home, show the wife, show her how it works.
And you don't have to search for it. You don't have to remember what was that thing.
Right.
Doing a Google search, it was something like a calculator, but I don't remember the name of the calculator, so I'm just going to look calculators and hopefully that I run across it, whatever. So it eliminates all that. And so I was doing like some research this morning on all that whole thing, and the retail industry, they did a study on augmented reality and in purchasers, not in retail facilities, and so in consumers, and something like 71% of consumers would be more apt to visit a store that had more augmented reality experiences in it, and they would spend 40% more money. Now, this isn't stuff that I came up with. This is my research and just finding out more information about AR. I'm in the business now, so it's good for me to at least know a little bit of the research that's happening and what people are saying. So just in that alone, like if somebody looks at a magazine and they see something in there, and then they flip to the next page and it is gone. But if there's additional content, and you and I both know, as well as everybody else that has seen the content, that the wow factor when you see it happen stays with you. So those people that you saw earlier today, when you showed them that, I promise you right now that is still in the back of their brain, and they remember that whatever it was you showed them.
As I was walking out, literally my buddy goes, get him in touch with me. I'm like, okay.
Right. And so, and still right now, that mental retention that was caused by that, and we say it all the time, that emotional connection of when they watch that whole experience happen it's phenomenal. And so, especially if they get that stimulated and they choose to select one of the contact buttons and get in touch with you,
that's it.
Half the battle is over with.
And it's tough. And I deal with this literally on a daily, if not hourly basis of the customers that I have to service, is getting their product and or service not only seen, but to convert. And that's when you asked me before we went live, you're like, what are you doing here? Like, what do you really, like, what do you do to pay the bills? Anyone and their mothers now in my day and age, man, is an interneter. That's not a big deal. Literally, as we speak right now, 5 more. You make a Facebook page, put a thing, I'm an interneter. Say put a website up or 2 and you're an interneter. That's it. There's no test. There's nothing. So what keeps you in business in 365 days? Your product.
That's right.
Your product, your mission, your relationships, the wow factor. And it's taught me, after a decade plus of grinding and learning, and it's not just about looking good. It's about my clients getting a return on their investment. And what I'm learning now is that you imagine And the cool thing is that when I do get hired in a segment that has good revenue streams, so for instance, the mortgage industry, right? Like they obviously, most of them, and because my cost is very affordable, that they pay for me 10 times over.
Right.
So for those that are listening, can we talk some numbers on how your subscription is working right now?
Absolutely.
Like,
talk
so
about whatever.
For those that are interested in this, if you haven't already downloaded it, so if you're if you're the one that wants to supply the content, because once again, to be very clear here, there is no cost to have the app to view the content for the marketing
Correct.
piece. Okay, make sure that's very clear, because that was the first question. All those guys were like, "Wait a minute, my customers are gonna have to pay to see my."
Right.
So that's no. But if you're the one that wants to get the content seen, the actual customer of yours, what are the subscription based like what is going on right now? What do you have?
So currently everything is based on 1,000 recognitions, and so we have storage fees associated with the content. So this is the reason we've set up this scale. And so for one image and video content that you can rotate it out as much as you want. So if you sign up for the one image a month plan, it's $20 a month, and you can take it down every week and put something else, but you're allowed one image and content on your account per month.
Okay.
Right. And you can do every day if you want to.
Is there a max on the video time?
There's 90 seconds that's allowed.
Okay. That's plenty,
which
though.
is we feel like is about the most that you're going to retain the attention of somebody.
Right.
So you need to kind of be very focused on whatever it is you're creating. If it's for marketing,
a minute and a half is that's about average.
Right. So then we have the 3 for 45, the 5 for 60, and then the 10 for 100.
Okay.
And then after that, it's kind of like the whole Facebook thing where you set a budget, and since you're paying for recognitions of 2 cents a recognition, if you want to put $200 in there, that's going to give you 4,000 recognitions. And what's cool about it is currently all the marketing and print stuff that we put out there, we don't know how many times somebody's looked at it. We just put it out there and hope that somebody at least calls us. On the back end of your account, you see all of your experiences and you see how many times it's been viewed.
Amazing. I didn't know that. So
Right.
they're getting analytical data on the.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Is it really in depth?
No, it's just a view and a counter.
It's better than not knowing anything.
It's better. It's not knowing anything. But like I said, we have the direct contact buttons as they are viewing the content across the bottom. There's phone, email, and website. And so if they are intrigued enough to say, "Hey, I need to reach out to this company," all they do is select that option, and it takes them directly to email, phone, or website. And so if you're in the retail business, you want to drive people to your website.
Right.
If you're in the real estate business, you want to drive people to that phone and that email.
Yeah.
Car dealership, phone and email, maybe website. It's just, kind of depends. Restaurant industry is another one that we haven't even talked about. Like, how many times have we been at the restaurant and we're sitting there and we're like, I don't know. What's good? Hey, that looked good right there. What was that on the menu?
Yeah, you always, yep.
Right. And so because we read it and we say it's spicy chicken.
My wife's good at that one.
When it went by, it smelled really good and it sounded really good when it went by.
So what are you eating over there?
Right.
What you got?
That's right. Or you don't have to ask. You can look at a restaurant menu and see what a plating looks like and sounds like and all that, right? And so, how good does a tray of fajitas sound when it comes out on that sizzling plate? It sounds pretty good, and he's like, "Wow, that kind of makes me want fajitas," right? So, or specials or any of that kind of stuff,
or even just an intro to the restaurant. We just recently went to like a ceviche restaurant, which is really hard to find ceviche in general, and it was a ceviche restaurant, so there's a ton of options. My point is, all their marketing pieces were so beautiful, like their menu and this, but same thing. The restaurant had been there the building had been there for like 1,800 years or something. But imagine if like that mission doesn't always have to be something that's menu based. It can be, once again, it's the mission, man. It's the story.
Absolutely.
You can fit so much in a 30-second video that would take 10 pages of scrolling on a website, 100 photos. And we are so guilty of it. I deal with this constantly, and people, they'll give me a video of 5 minutes to put on their homepage of their website. And I'm like, nobody is going to watch it. And trust me, I'm no, how do you think? I have a lot of friends that are like, bro, I'm not watching your podcast like 3 hours long. I'm like, I get it. It's not for everybody. I just love what I'm doing and I'm not making a buck off of it. But when podcasts have that genre of like, I'm going to listen and kill an hour ride or 2 hours, like it's for your downtime. But when it comes to advertising, you got seconds.
Seconds.
You got seconds to really captivate. And it's funny. I'm no business guru, but I'm learning. Base yourself as your best, as your customer. How do you shop? When you're shopping, where do you go? How do you do it? What catches your eye? What sells you on the place? Think about it. Even the hospitality industry, man. You're killing me here.
Yeah.
Just the idea. I'm like,
travel is another one.
Traveling. Imagine you get like a flyer in the mail. Oh, my wife. Oh, it was so funny. We came home. We were away for a while, and you come home and the mail's packed, and she was going through it. She goes, "Oh, babe, we want a trip." And it was one of those win a trip thing. She's like, "I want a trip to."
Oh yeah.
And we were just chuckling. But my
for
point
2
is,
hours of your life when you get there.
But imagine if it actually, instead of even there's that marketing piece. Now you can go ahead and just show. I don't know. Although it's just such a great concept, but man.
So what about so let's just say travel agencies.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to your travel agency and you book a trip, and they give you a flyer of you're going to Bora Bora, and you get to look at the 4 pictures of I'm going to go tubing and I'm going to go zip lining. But what if every one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the resort. Here's a whole walkthrough. And here's the tubing experience where you're dropping off the waterfall, and here's the zip line experience, and here's the restaurant, and it's all in one package that the travel agency gives you. And that's another study is that traveling, customers will be more inclined to go to these destinations when they have that information readily available. So you go down to the Daytona Beach and you walk in there and they have this whole wall of these little cards, right? Yep. But what if it was just a wall of pictures, and then they just, wow, this looks fun, and then they watch that picture, and then they click the contact button, and that brings me to the next part is like coupons and stuff. So with the whole website, they can implement a link to where you have to go to that link to get that coupon, to get that 50% off that pizza or a free appetizer or whatever, so it's like you and I, we could just sit here.
We could talk
for 5 hours about, okay, so how about this company? And this is
it's very, very interesting. And like I said, no joke. It'll be funny because now that I'm kind of keeping this like diary of my life with this podcast, we can literally look back on this day at this time, and it's going to be fascinating to see how many it's definitely we'll see it more, and it's safe to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to see it more in the big boys. We will, the Disneys, you are going to more saturated. It's coming. It's already here.
It's coming, and
it's just we're not, because we're also isolated too, and Flagler, and I say this out of love for our little town, but like within the 30-mile radius of here, like we're not really. We're not usually up to, we don't know really what's going on in the bigger cities. We're not here. We don't see it that often, but it's happening. It's already happening. I've just seen, if you go to YouTube and type in augmented reality advertising, it's there. The big, those conventions and the centers. Actually, I every year I would go to this convention in Orlando for the amusement parks, and their job was to sell their attractions to these amusement park owners. And I'm watching roller coasters being sold for $40 million. It was an amazing opportunity to go. I used to go with my cousin every year, and they started playing with this augmented reality back in the day. It was a handful of years ago, and it was portraying something and their slogans and this, and it's just a fantastic. I'm engulfed by it, and I don't have, my industry is very unique because most of my product is obviously intangible, and I'm supplying service related stuff. But for all my clients, I can't wait to share. Literally, it was awesome to be able to, in a real life environment, like wrapping up my part. And I'm like, by the way, I got a podcast with this guy. Look what he's got going on, But I'm really excited for you, man. Like where's Neal right now? And like as a person, more than just the business, the next coming months, like, are you like going to be attending thing? Like, what's going on? What do you got going on?
So we're gearing up. One of the big things that we're gearing up for is the NAR convention, which is the National Association of Realtors, in San Francisco in November.
You going?
Yes, we've already got we got a primo booth that we're kind of gearing up to set up for that. Got a whole team that's going to go out there and really kind of push it to the realtor market. I have a team that's going to start visiting real estate offices first locally, and we're just going to kind of figure out. I got the direct mailer company that I mentioned to you earlier. So currently this week, every real estate office and in the state of Florida and every car dealership, 20 million annually and over, are all getting a postcard for Captum. And so that's kind of, we're raising awareness that way. And, you know, a lot of that is kind of grassroots. You know, the major stuff is the marketing company that I've hired to handle the whole Facebook and larger corporations, right? Because we are definitely going after them as well, because they spend a lot of money creating experiences that now they don't have to. And what's different is they create single use case experiences. So like the bottle of wine, for instance, it was its own app, and it only worked on that bottle of wine. But now we have something far greater than that, whereas they can put their content on Captum and John Hall Chevrolet and Realty Pros and whatever. Everybody can put all theirs in one, and so it's only one app to view everybody's content around the world. So it doesn't, like, I got people in Dubai that have contacted me and want to use it, and Canada and Baltimore, and so that I have all these people that are looking at it, and I'm sure that they're just being proactive in their content, right? Because as you saw from the car video, that content was very good versus like we did a little greeting card that we mailed out to 100 of our friends, and it was just a picture of my wife and I that came to life. And it's, that's really cool when you take the first image of a video and you attach that video to it. It seems very seamless. It's like you're still, and then all of a sudden you're not still, and you're talking. And so that whole grassroots stuff is something that speaks for itself. But at the end of the day, we want everybody to be using it and watch how cool it is. Something I did want to touch base on, though, is the knowledge that I've gained about where AR is going.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that.
And so just because of the companies that I now have access to that are helping us with the business and develop it and that kind of stuff. And so my last meeting that I had was about 3 weeks ago it's a large company called PTC, and I think they're almost $2 billion annually that they're doing. And they have been focusing on manufacturing. And so like if you have this entire piece of equipment everything's designed in CAD nowadays. And so they can go in an empty building and hold up a device, and you can see the equipment in the building and walk around it. And then just like you remember in Iron Man, where he could take that thing and just like spread it out and you could see every individual piece. So all that's happening, right? So that's like real life stuff from what you and I, saw in the movies and the aircraft industry. So now a tech can walk into an aircraft and just look down the plane with everything in it and see every wire and every connector and all that kind of stuff. And they know from their, analytics system that, this part here is bad. And so they can just walk down and say, okay, that part's right there. And then they take that panel off and get right to it. So that's kind of, that's what's coming. What's even way cooler than that. And this is like, as I learned this stuff and I'm having these conversations with these people, sporting events are about to really change in that you are about to be able to watch sporting events from a specific player's perspective.
Oh, come on, Neal. For real. Right. And so if you want to watch a game from Tom Brady's perspective, come on,
that's coming. Okay. That's not 100% augmented reality, but it kind of is.
I know what you mean.
But some of the stuff that the players are going to have, so most of them wear the shields now. They are going to have the plays on their shields inside their helmet. And so the audible won't be called by the quarterback anymore. It'll be called by the booth upstairs, and they'll see the play on the inside of their screen, right? Which is, that's
nuts.
That is nuts. The glasses, remember the whole glasses thing that was out there?
The Google Glass.
Yes. So all that's about to change. Within the next couple of years, you're going to see something not much different than what you and I wear on a day-to-day basis. It's very similar to that. Apple has, and I don't know how much I have to talk about this, but it's public knowledge because it was sent to me.
Dude, far away.
So Apple has their own credit card that's coming out.
Heard about this.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, and everybody knows that banks historically have had security breaches. We see it on, all the news medias that want to report all that kind of stuff, right? But so they are implementing that into their glasses that they have coming out, and you will be able to purchase stuff just by looking at it and touching the side of your glasses, right? And so all of that is augmented reality. And so, as this thing evolves and what it is going to become, that the experts,
right,
so to say, are they're saying that by 2021, it's a $125 billion industry, which tells me that things are going to change with augmented reality as a whole. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to become one of the go-tos on attaining information. We are an information society these days. We rely heavily on that. The more we can get, the better we feel. Some people just absolutely crave it. And so it's just, dude, that whole thing is just amazing.
It's too much to try to, because it's funny because so the Matrix side of me is hesitant towards it. The scary part of the machines are going to take over. Do you think that will happen one day?
I don't think the machines will take. I don't think they'll take over. No, just because let's just get back to the glasses real quick. So the whole maintenance industry. So a tech is going to be able to go to a piece of equipment and put these glasses on and look at that piece of equipment, and it will know from the data that it gets from the laptop that they've hooked up to it, and it's going to show them exactly where they need to go. Take this bolt out, and walk them through the process. So I feel like that the machines won't take over. We might just be dumber about how to do it.
That's a good point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes so. There's this video going super viral right now, and it is Boston Dynamics, the people that make those machines that are super crazy. It's MIT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every couple months they release a video of their new version of this machine that is it started with being just this very clunky, weird thing. Now it can do backflips. It can do all these things.
Yeah.
So this marketing company, which was genius, did this 5-minute video. They must have gotten the approval of Boston Dynamics because it has Boston Dynamics in the bottom right-hand corner. It literally looks just like the area in Boston wherever they do their videos. And so the video starts, and the header of the title of the video is machine goes berserk kind of and fights back. Which is crazy because they always are beating the piss out of these machines. I don't know if you've ever seen these videos.
I have not.
Dude, it's they'll have this machine doing some kind of something picking up a box, and there's a guy a hockey stick, just chucking him in the head just to show how sturdy. So this marketing company, though, which was genius, for the first 2-3 minutes it's a robot going through the process of stuff that it already is mind blowing. I think it was balancing on one leg and they were pushing it. But slowly but surely throughout the video, they start really getting worse with this machine. They're hitting them this and pushing them, and they're kicking them on the ground, and the machine starts fighting back. That's when you don't know it's fake until probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes in. You're there's no way, because this thing starts going Bruce Lee style, and it's yeah. But my point is that the beautiful marketing on the behalf of this company, because they end up, I think the video ends with it being they fake, but they were saying we'll get your mission out and get you seen by using video marketing, etc. But my point is, I don't know, man. I think deep down inside it gets a little scary, not beyond more than just the augmented reality where we're heading from a tech perspective. It is freaking weird. It does. I have a little bit of, I guess it's probably just my generation, but growing up with the Matrix genre of seeing how it's practical. It's not as far-fetched as we
thought it was to begin with.
Living in a augmented reality, living in this fake world. Now, do I believe that we are? No, I don't believe any of that. Are we heading there maybe in the next 1,000 years? Maybe, where the machines get better and stuff. But it's interesting how, but I like how you're such a rooted dude, man. You're looking at it not just from the perspective of an idea and this money generating thing. It's this concept that's just going to change. It's this paradigm shift of thought for all things, not just marketing, but educational. Even I don't know, man. It's just we'd go on and on about it, but it's such a fascinating thing. And I hope people that are listening to this video, if those that have made it this far already into it, there's something about you that's different anyways. You're a thinker, You're engaging with what's around you, and it's here to stay. And get involved. And I'm excited to. We're besties now, buddy. You ain't leaving me.
We're gonna go all
and
the
I
way.
cannot wait to see where you're gonna keep going. So Cali's in what, next week, you said, or 2 weeks?
No, that's November.
Oh, November. Okay,
November,
it's gonna be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it will feel like that. Absolutely.
So that will be that. And are you going to be hitting those things? Actually, really do really well. I've never done them for my own personal business, but conventions.
Yes.
When I was younger, I remember thinking like, conventions, what is so weird? Like those actually.
Yes.
When I saw people buying $40 million roller coasters, I was like, wow, this is actually that's what there's for. Everyone brings their A game.
Yes.
People are bringing their best product, their stuff that's not on the market too. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the point of the conventions too. You're seeing stuff that's not even existent yet.
Absolutely.
Giving your consumer the edge. So you're going, are you have any ones else lined up after that? Or is it just kind of,
I have a girl that she is going to take that side of the business over. She is just going to work conventions. And so
it's a lot to take in.
Well, she kind of comes from that because she has been talent at those conventions for a lot of years.
So she knows
the ins and outs and how to set it up and that kind of stuff. So right now we're putting together everything that we need to set those up consistently. So we want to show up every time and look the same every time, because that, in marketing, that's what works the best, is to be consistent on whatever you do and to look the same every time you show up and not really try and reinvent yourself every 2 weeks. Right. So that's definitely one of the focuses for us. But like I told you, this is new territory for me. Right. So we are learning as we go, just like I explained when we were developing the app, when we made our mistakes, and that's kind of why it took 3 extra months, because we made our mistakes, and that's all fine and good. That's how you learn stuff. And I say it all the time to, especially my kids and younger kids, is success is a byproduct, right? Don't strive to be successful. Strive to be the best that you can be, and success will just happen.
It's good, man. It's really good.
Right. I mean, honestly,
that's when I call, you know this, you've been around probably way more business genre things than I have in my time. And it's a lot of people. There's like 2 types of people in business. There's my brick of gold's bigger than yours. And there's those that I feel that are going, you want to get some brick of gold, like they find the common ground, and you are totally a dude that's kind of looking for it with people, like you're not about like, look how big it is. And there's sincerity in that. And when I talk to you on the phone, you never know, you never know what you're going to meet. But when you see something, as lack of better words, badass, that you had, there was first of all, I didn't even think I was going to get you on the phone. Second of all, there was a potential of like, whenever you see something that looks cool, smells cool, you go into it going, man, I wonder if this person's going to be really like chill about it though. Like, are they like, or are they going to be like, I don't have the time for you, basically. And bro, you're a really nice guy, man. Like you made me feel really cool because you made me feel good about you saying that I made you feel good. Right. You were appreciative that I had called and reached out, and I'm sure you're getting a good sense of my heart, and my mission and my objective is, dude, to find common ground and to spread love and educate and to obviously we got to make some bucks, but
we got to pay the bills. Right?
I had to learn exactly what you said the very, very, very hard way. And that's probably one of the most common denominators today. And the age is irrelevant, but people that are just young in business in general, and they want to come up with their package. They want to come up with their monetization of how they're going to do it. And they think they're just going to scale it and it's going to work. And there's no personality. There's no experience. There's nothing behind it. And I try to tell people, if there's one regret I do have so far in 15 plus years of business, my only regret is I wish I would have slept more and stopped worrying that it wasn't going to work. That's what I wish I could go back. And it kind of ties into what you just said, that success is a byproduct of just kind of ultimately staying busy and standing behind your product and standing behind your mission in all facets, no matter what you are. I don't care if you're washing floors, do it the best, and literally you will be recognized, and maybe one day you'll own the floor,
Absolutely.
I had a lot of sleepless nights when maybe the first 5+ years of my little business endeavor, man, just worrying, like, how am I And I stood behind my product and I had a package, but I just didn't think people were going to like me, or I didn't think people were going to pay for it. Success happened by just nature of product to just keep persevering. And I think that's kind of what you've experienced, because you've had the building and then the real estate. Yep. And I mean, it's a tough world out there, man. And that's the silver lining to this whole show. And that's why I'm honored to have you on, is that we're not here to just tell you about some cool new product or a cool new person. We're talking about how this person got to this point. And I would imagine you've had a lot of moments where, even when you were told, your product's 3 months past launch date and you may have things planned, or, life is life. I tell people sometimes, they get in touch with me and I go, man, I'm just helping you with your web world, man. Like, you got life. Like, I can't imagine what you're going on that's behind the scenes, marriages and relationships and financials and sicknesses and issues. Like, those are all real.
That's right.
And this show is not to make you forget about them, but it's to you realize that there is it can get better with time. And do you believe life is in seasons?
Absolutely. Yeah, man, I've being in the real estate business, I've been through some seasons in my days, right?
You're like, yeah, I don't believe.
Yeah, we've been at the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows in 15 years,
right?
I remember back in 2005, where everything you touched turned to gold. But
you're talking about right before
2007.
08, wasn't 08
yeah, we were almost at the bottom. 2009 was about the bottom. But I remember that 2005 year very well.
Where were you then? Were you here?
No, I was in Georgia.
Okay. That was a scary time.
2005 was not scary.
No, that
06,
was a great time.
2007 was, where you're like, what, hang on.
The earth was shaking.
Talking about that $40 million roller coaster. That was about where it was at, right? For a lot of people. And to that dollar figure too. A lot of guys out there that were spread out for 40, 50, $100 million. And I was spread pretty thin myself, but by the grace of God, I was able to, parachute out right there before it went over the top of that hill there. So we were fortunate there. But it's those kind of things that just kind of keep you going and
make you.
And that make you. Absolutely.
You believe, because I'm a firm believer in what you do with a little bit, you do with a lot. So through those moments of your come to Jesus moments, like what you do then is that's your moment now. What are you gonna do about this? Are you gonna freak out? Are you gonna disappear? Are you gonna hurt somebody? But and I've learned this too, though, Neal. Like, through good seasons, it's just as important to rely on whatever it is you call whatever you did rely on in your low. Rely on that thing when it's good too. And I've learned, once again, the hard way and through trials and tribulations, that even when things are great, it's still very important to take a step back sometimes and just give thanks to someone and or something.
Absolutely.
Because it's not in your control. And when I went through I thought I had things going pretty well for a hot minute. About 2-3 years ago, you're getting a good sense of me. You're in my home. You see I'm a pretty simple dude. I don't got a lot of toys. And really what I cherish is more of my lifestyle than anything. And my lifestyle was removed from me by means of the flood. And my lifestyle is consistent of just taking a walk to the beach, jumping in, jumping out, maybe ride my bike. Well, that was taken from me. And I'm using the word taken from me, but I was not able to exercise that lifestyle for close to a year. And I had to reinvent my happiness. I had to realize that I'm not even I can't be contingent on things.
Right.
Even places. I had already removed the vanity aspect. I didn't have the cool motorcycle anymore.
Right.
But I did have the cool little hop, skip to the beach. And even that is not yours. So I think it's important. I think the reason I'm even bringing that up is I get that sense about you, man. I really do. I think you're a pretty chill guy. What are your hobbies? Like, are you seem like you're an out.
Just kind of a, I mean, we enjoy the beach and the surfing and that kind of stuff.
Are you a country guy? Are you a hunter guy?
I did all that in Georgia. I hunted a little bit. I'm not a whole lot. I fished more, shot some quail and that kind of stuff. But
the fishing,
fishing. I used to do a lot of freshwater fishing, not really any saltwater. But at the end of the day, I just that right there, the whole beach.
You're in love with it.
I can just do it every day.
Me too, man.
Absolutely love it. And I actually just said it on Sunday. We were sitting down there at the beach in Ormond, And I was like, why is it so much different to sit here versus sit at the house? Either way, I'm just sitting, and I don't have an answer for you other than the energy that you get from that massive body of water and the salt and the elements and that kind of stuff. So it's that's my hobby. That, and I just enjoy creating. Right. That's kind of obvious. If I were to say anything, it would be like, that's why I build, right? Because I enjoy the creation portion of building properties, and the design aspect of it. And so, like Captum, it's been really fun to just be a part of it. And I'm just along for the ride. My son he's my partner. I don't know if I told you that or not.
No, I didn't know.
I have a 20-year-old son who's
he's got to be pumped.
Without him, I probably wouldn't be in this, because he's an IT guy. And so when I first saw it, I'm just like, hey, Jake would probably know something a little bit about this. So let's reach out to Jake and see where this goes. So it's been really cool for he and I to have this experience.
What a bonding experience too for you guys.
That's right. And educate him on the business and learn that whole aspect and make him something more responsible than for just a 9 to 5 and that kind of stuff. Because there's definitely more to life when you own your own business and are part of that, versus at 5 o'clock you can hit that button and going out the door and all that's behind you, and you're on the drive home and you don't have to worry about any of that. So it's cool for us to get to experience that. And but again, it comes down to growing something, right? And so we've been cultivating this baby and this embryo for 6-7 months now, trying to get it launched and out of the ground and figure the whole business out. And so that's, for me, that's like the most exciting part of it, is just taking something and turning it into nothing. Like I said earlier, I look forward to watching the creativity of the people that are going to use it. Right. Because I get to see everything. Like I see everything that everybody creates. I follow that. You're the oracle. I look at that. I make sure that, because there's people out there that are going to do stuff that they don't need to do. Right. And so, we have a duty to follow up on that, monitor that, and make sure that, people aren't putting stuff out there that my son or anybody else does not need to see or want to see. So it's, it's cool to get to be a part of that and to watch people be creative with it, watch how successful it helps them in their business. And I can't wait till like I get to use it on something that's for me. Yeah. Like you're getting to watch. It's like seeing somebody wearing your own clothes when you're exactly. Watching them use your product with that. It's a wonderful experience. I'm excited. I had no idea about your son. Like, what a perfect age for your son too, because he's in it. Yes, he's in his prime of evolving. Whatever's cool, he knows of it at that age. 20 is a pretty good age of knowing what's working, what's not, and then having you as his counsel and knowing okay, well, we can monetize this area. This is a good idea, right? And it's good too, because just having a bond to have with your son, that you guys can work on something with common ground. That's exciting. Versus you got to go to the old restaurant, like the dad owns a restaurant. You got to go work at the restaurant. He doesn't want to work at the restaurant, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, this is exciting. That's great. Did he graduate? Did he grow up? No, he actually lives in Georgia. Oh, he's still in Georgia. Okay. He works for Geico. Oh, nice. He's an IT guy for Geico. Oh, I see. Okay. Until we, hopefully make Captum successful enough to where he can just focus on Captum, but he handles all of that side of the business. Awesome. I am the marketing and the money guy. That's kind of what my I'm paying for everything. I get the stress portion of it, right? And he gets to run the business or run the tech side of it. So, but it's good to have defining roles and that way I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, and he doesn't have to worry about the business and the marketing and the money side. He can just focus on the money side's the best thing not to have to worry about on his behalf. Yes, so absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. And so, but you know what, it's part of it. And I've owned a lot of businesses. I've done a lot of things in my short lifespan. But for some reason with Captum, I have not ever felt this
Energy.
positive
Okay.
about it, right?
That's
It's like
great,
it's
man.
and just like I run into people like you every day, and they all have the same reaction, which is cool. And just like I told you, like when I show somebody a card,
Yeah.
I don't watch the card.
You
I've already
watch that.
seen the card. I don't need to watch that. I'm more interested in the reaction
Right.
and just seeing that. And just like when you were in the office the other day or today, and
Yeah.
those people were just like, what in the world?
Completely. Is that where the name kind of came from? Captum, like captivating, or is it an acronym?
Absolutely. It's Latin for to capture.
Really?
Which was, that was, if I had to say
Go
one
figure.
thing about the hardest part about Captum was a trademarkable name.
That's tough.
And that was like, we racked our brains.
That was a sleepless night or two.
For weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, like weeks and weeks and weeks. I wish I'd logged how many hours I spent on the what is it, the
synonyms,
PTO patent trademark
office,
right?
Yep.
Searching, right? Because you can go, a lot of people know this, you can go straight to that website,
right,
and you can just type names and it'll show you every trademark that has ever happened with that name. And so it's cool, dude. I have learned so much about so many different things that have nothing to do with real estate and building houses that it's at the end of the day, even if it's not grossly successful,
it doesn't matter. It's
the knowledge that I came away with is definitely invaluable.
Yep.
People spent way more money going to college to get a whole lot less education than what I have in the last 6 or 7 months.
Amen, brother.
Right. So
well, that's what you're talking about with the ocean. There's a big, so as I keep trying to figure out what it is in my life that's making me happy, I know that what's making me happy is realizing how small and insignificant that I am. And I'm not saying that in a degrading way towards me and or anybody in specific, but we really are, there's a lot going on. We're small little things. Right. And the ocean and big old mountains and things that with our eyes can see will show you that you're just a little thing. And it doesn't take much to find a little bit of happiness, because and that's what I think the ocean does. And that there are physics things that are going on. I do believe in the salt and that, and I believe in all that. And I believe it's very important to get your feet in some barefoot on some earth once in a while too. But there is something about getting yourself in a situation where you're uncomfortable and you need to learn and you're relying on your knowledge and or someone else's. And when I remove myself from the 32136, even if it's just another zip code and I don't frequent it and I'm walking around the streets, literally walking around, and I have my wife, what are we doing? We're thinking, we're looking for good and bad. We're protecting, we're troubleshooting. Where am I heading? Where am I not going? Where is the place? It's good for your brain. It's not good to be complacent. It's not good to just have I don't think routine is healthy. I don't think we were as a species were supposed to be routine. I don't, the hunter-gatherers didn't get to go to the same place and the fish was in the same place. There's a vicinity, but it wasn't the same place. And It's not healthy, dude. If you're going, and I understand we're all working. So I'm not trying, and Joe Rogan does this a lot too. He tries to remind the listening audience that there's nothing wrong with your job. You got to work. We have to work, but there is life too. Those are putting 40, 60 hours a week at work. We know it sucks. We're there too, but there's a whole lot of out there world, and it's good to get yourself uncomfortable. It's good to let yourself be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
It's good to be honest. And I feel like you got a lot of that in you too, because being that you're in such a lot of people in the tech space, and that's why I started the show too, are just jerks. They're very standoff. They're like, my tech is better than your tech. You can't possibly know about my tech. And I'm never going to let you in my bubble of tech because I don't want you interfering with my consumer tech.
Right.
So I've been dealing with so long that I'll never forget the first few that I even reached out to were kind of like, And I'm like, what? I'm like, what am I going to do? Steal my whole point is, I think it's admirable and it's noble of you that you have this, but you haven't forgotten about where you came from, who you are, and what matters the most. And I have no doubt, dude, that whether it's Captum or not, whether it's your app or whether the product and the genre in which you're in is like, it's like being in it's like knowing that the TV was coming out before the first TV, almost like, hey man, we're going to start putting things through this box. You want a commercial on it?
That's right.
Anybody that said yes are the McDonald's, are the Walt Disney's, are those people. So I'm excited for you. And I have no doubt, once again, whether it's Captum or not, this segment is going anywhere but this. And it's not just a money thing. It's those statistics are exciting, the 140 some odd billion, et cetera. What excites me is the longevity. You know, I'm always fearful sometimes. I'm like, what if the internet just turned off? I'm done. You know, of course, that's a pretty grandiose.
Yeah.
But I always think like, you know, what if?
Right.
You know, what if the internet, this is going nowhere.
It's not going anywhere, man. And augmented reality is, man, I'm telling you, with 18 months from now, you and I are going to be like,
we'll probably have it on.
We would never have imagined.
Yeah, it's going to be everywhere
here. You know, just like the cell phone, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, there's a statistic out there that says that most people are never more than 5 feet away from their cell phone at any given time.
I give it 2 feet.
Right, and so
imagine that.
That's where augmented reality is going to fit in. It's going to fit into that whole device, you know. And you just think back 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 10 years ago was about the first iPhone, and how terrible was that thing in comparison to nowadays? And you figure 15 years ago it was the flip phone, Motorola StarTech that everybody was lined up to get, and you had to press 3 buttons at a time to text somebody. And so you just think about how far we've come in that short amount of time, and everything that is in place to set up augmented reality. And dude, it's
crazy. It's going to be, the same show about the cell phones where Nokia went wrong. You know, Nokia used to own 98% of the cell phone market. Imagine that. And they failed miserably because they stopped servicing. They disconnected.
They stopped growing
and they stopped connecting with their audience. I remember they were given an opportunity by their developers saying, hey, listen, like Apple has a iOS system.
Go down here and take this test, and if I pass it, you give me my diploma.
Right.
So that's exactly what I did. I waited until my class graduated, and I went down there on a Saturday, hungover like you wouldn't even believe. I'm like, I need a bucket and the test. Right. It was so bad, but I passed my test, and you know, so it goes live. I do not encourage that. That's not anything that I encourage, because ultimately it comes down to the individual. And the most important part about that story is I quit to go to work full time.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't quit so I could sit around the house and look at my cell phone or play.
Become an influencer.
Yeah. Become an influencer. Exactly. You
know, I know what you mean.
My blog going and right. So, you know, which I have a 12-year-old. And so it's, you know,
I understand. Well, I appreciate you saying that, because sometimes when I get into the education discussion with some of my peers or some bar banter, and I do share that, and I don't mind saying, because I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not embarrassed, because school just wasn't for me, but it was scary. So if you're not for those that are in, I don't know how many people listen to this that are in school probably, but those that have people that are still in school, I'm not at all, and I don't think you are. Obviously, we're not talking down about it at all.
No.
But do have something else going. I remember I literally was barely graduating, and that's when I started my first ever business right there. I knew then that I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to work for myself. Right. I had no doubt in my mind that I was going to do this, of course. But another thing too that separated me and probably you than most people that just quit or don't go to school is that even though I was an entrepreneur, I worked. I always had a W-2. And that's something that I tried preaching to a lot of these guys, girls, whoever you are, that go and it's nothing wrong with being, but until you actually start to generate revenue, work, especially if you have a family. I meet a lot of people lately, not necessarily around here, but in my travels and stuff. And they're like, yeah, they're doing something. It's something online, something interneting. And of course it bothers me because I'm like, oh, God, another interneter, but I get it. But I don't ask ever. For those that know me really well, I know I've never asked, I never will. I don't ask people what they do. I just like to get to know people. But after an hour or two hanging out, and I find out like the poor guy's like, I'm covering his bar tab because he has no money. I'm like, I thought you were an interneter. It's like, oh, I don't have any clients yet, but I'm interneting. And I'm like, God. And that goes in any business. Yeah. Just work. There's no shame in working. I was working at 14 years old at Subway.
I was 9 delivering a Sacramento bee.
They don't do that. Like they don't make it like that anymore.
They don't.
Work. People got to work, man. I hated it. I'm not going to sit there and tell you I loved coming home smelling like a Subway sandwich. And I got fired anyways. But I worked. Like I went to work, and my dad said to me the very first when I said I wanted my permit, my dad's insurance was going to go up like $40 some odd because I was going to be on the insurance. I had to pay for it. And since then I've worked, right? Since that day. And it's a very, very important thing for those, and people that are listening to this, they all got it. But for those that are around us, love them, love those. That's another thing that do you see that in your travels, in your life and your work and where you've been? And now you have 2 kids?
We have 4.
4. Okay. Do you have hope in humanity? Or are you getting like with everything, just life and everything that's going on, and you see like all the ruckus, like, are you an optimistic person in general, or do you
I'm a very optimistic person in general. I do believe that we are in America, we are poised for a little bit of a reset, right? What that looks like, I don't know. But we travel quite a bit as well. And so and I have my favorite place that I love to go and what I see there versus here in the States, maybe we're set for a little reset. I thought that, back in the 07, 08 days, we had a little bit of a reset, but we have bad memories, right? I think we have bad memories, and maybe I do as well. I'm sure I do as well. I don't live as lavishly as I used to, but, I think that, at the end of the day, I think we'll be okay, but I think we probably need a little bit of a reset. I don't know what that looks like, and I'm not here to.
No, I agree with you.
Just say that.
Well, it's important to at least, and that's why I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan and stuff, is that he doesn't really preach like this is how to do it, but it starts with I've been saying to people lately, like, just worry about the 6 inches in front of your face.
Yes.
Just
absolutely.
Just give a hug to that person. There's nothing wrong with trying to bestow help and love to those that aren't around here. And I get a lot of ridicule too sometimes. That I did a podcast with a founder of a dog rescue institution. And dude, I had whiplash from people like, why do you care about, and this is all just trolls. I don't know who these people are, but they're like, why do you care about dogs when there's people dying in the streets? And like, I get it. Here we go. Like you're right. Screw it. Screw the dogs, kill them all. Let's go get these people. Right. But focus on what gives you passion. And I understand that by saving the little bit of dog, I have 2 rescue dogs. That's all I could do. So I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'm Gandhi, but I could try to spread the mission and what was important to me. So my point is that if you can focus on, for instance, like you just said, what is that tipping point of happiness? I just think if people just started loving a little bit, and it's happening by shows like this and people like yourself and podcasts like Joe Rogan's, they're people are looking for other people like-minded. So when I wake up in the morning, I pray, I'm like, Lord, send me like-minded people. Let me be a resource. Let people see something different about me. And it's not me, it's him. Right. But that's the point, is that just focus on your yard, like, I don't know. And maybe a couple yards around you if they have chinch bugs or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you got. You can't don't worry about it. Be aware of it and educate and to love. But man, you got a good heart on you. And I mean that. It's like, I'm just getting to know you, but it's cool to see someone in your vertical that's not a jerk. And I mean that. Like, and I didn't get that from you from the second I talked to you, but this tech space, you're pioneering in something that most folk come off very like, that's all y'all. And you don't have that.
It scares me to death. I will say that it scares me to death. All of it, every bit of it. Even what scares me to death more than any of it. And it's not the money. It's not stepping out into something new. The success is what scares me, and because that's like been the number one thing that everybody says. Right? Oh, that thing's going to be huge. Right. I wouldn't even know how to handle it. Right. Right. And I don't know that I want to know how to handle it. I just want to lead, just like you said, I just want to lead a nice little simple life and just kind of take it easy. But, I also want to see it. and I've said this before, I want to see how creative people can be, and how they use it, just like a positive message. So how cool is it going to be for somebody to just have a positive message every day that they change out their content? And it's that, I know I keep going back to refrigerator magnet, but that's like a,
you see it every day.
I see that refrigerator magnet is becoming something huge for a whole lot of people, only because it was really huge for Domino's.
Right.
You remember back in the day when you ordered Domino's and you got that magnet on top of the box and you put that, and that was so smart. Wait, what's Domino's phone number? No, it's right here on the refrigerator. I'm going to call that, right? And so, that was back in when we had the long extensive repertoire and you had to stand in the refrigerator. You remember those, right? Stick together. And yes. So, it's like, dude, I'm kind of looking forward to that and seeing how people use that. I mean, I got friends in ministry and I'm just like, dude, how cool is that going to be for you to send a positive message through a refrigerator magnet every day?
Yep. It's like I said, that stuff is what I think is attracting me to you more than anything. Isn't the scalability of your revenue streams in the next fourth quarter. Like, that's all going to happen by nature of consequence of, once again, success. What excites me is that there's someone behind the scenes that's actually got a really good heart, man. And that's what I hope today, that people that watch this episode, and even if it's not today, download the app, play with it, have fun with it. If you are, which 99% of the general public now, if you are a marketer, you got to look into how you could start to put this into your own marketing agenda. Man. It's so amazing. So it is cool. And think outside the box. Like, there's so many ways that you could do it. And correct me if I'm wrong now. So for those that are listening and or will listen, and I mean, are you a pretty attainable guy? Like, if someone wants to have a chat with you, if someone wanted to, you know what I mean?
All they got to do is reach out to me.
That's what I feel like. I mean, maybe this time.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Like, really, I am.
I called Neal out of nowhere on a Saturday afternoon, which I can't stand bothering people on a weekend. But I called you and I just said, hey, man, recreationally speaking, this is ridiculous. Like, that's cool, right? You want to do a show? And you were like, duh. And we were on the phone for like an hour. But you were such a chill guy. So if you want to have some, like, you're just great. I mean, I think I appreciate you even extending that. So, we did good. See how it goes? Yeah. Did you have fun?
No time. It was a great time, dude. No doubt.
I'm so excited for you. So let's do this. I put the link in there to the actual Facebook page. From the Facebook page, they can see the website. They can download the app. It's Android. It's iOS based. Thing's fluid too. It's very nice.
It is pretty.
I like even the color.
It's going to get better though, right?
Of course it will.
Like, we have a running list. Before it launched, we had a running list. But like, okay, so we got to get here and get it out.
Yep.
And then build upon that. And so, yes, we have a running list of stuff that is to come.
Well, that's what makes an app an app. You're going to keep adding software updates, and as phones change and evolve. But when I saw it, it's fluid, man. It's really a lot of people, especially in our neck of the woods. And I say this out of love for our little hood, but ain't nowhere near that that robust. Most of it's like pretty, a lot of people have these apps these days, and a lot of restaurant stuff have apps. That's cool. No disrespect. They're dope. They do their thing, but
single use.
This is some next level Uber stuff. Like, it's supplying a resource that never existed before. So
we look forward to it, man. Thank you for having
100%. Is there anything else you want? I mean,
I do not. I think I'm good, man. I tried to cover most of my notes, which, whether relative or not, I don't know. I just try and at least know a little bit about the industry because I'm in it, but I still don't know everything about it.
Well, like I said, I think it's going to be well met for those that are listening, that you don't come off like, check me out. Like, you're just another guy pioneering a situation in an industry, and then you have the product. It speaks for itself, though. That's what I would say. I would close on this, is that what led me to you more than anything is everyone could do this. You know that. You've been around the block. Everyone can do this. Everyone can do this. Mm-hmm. But to actually let the product and or service speak for itself is when I saw it, I was like, what the?
It's going to be fun.
So play with the toy out there. Once again, Captum. They can go right to the App Store, right?
Yep.
Captum app.
Captum. All you got to do is look for Captum.
Download it. Hang out with it. Use it.
Share it. Create.
Create and have fun. And for you marketer influencers, use it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, man. Bam. I think 2.
Good. I got a piss.
No guy. Yeah.
Where's it at? Right here?
Straight there to the left. The second door to the left.